So welcome everybody back here at Veil of Sound. No, not our regular Sunday thing. We have something special for you coming up. You have something special. This is the first interview that we're doing with somebody in hospital. So, that's cool. But we don't want to talk with Michael about the hospital that he's at. We want to talk with him and Matt about their upcoming record with Punts, which is out in a few days. So first of all, guys, I have to admit, you have one of the worst names if you want to find out anything on the web about your band. Do you not want people to know you?
No, I think we do. And, it's why we actually took the U out of our name. I must say, when we started this whole thing, I didn't really think the name was going to be that big a deal.
You didn't?
No. And then, some of that, I guess, just my being tone deaf, but yeah.
But yeah, let's not talk about the name. You're not the X or 1349 or other bands. You as Matt just said, you cut out the U and still it's hard to find sometimes. Let's talk about the making of a new record. And I think, Matt, that is the point where you have to talk a little bit about the past 2 years, before you started kicking in again.
Yeah, well, it was, Jesus. Okay, everybody just relax. I got into a car accident in 2020 during the pandemic. And over the course of a couple of years, ended up having a whole bunch of surgeries, and sort of culminated in, I guess it would be June of 22. I had major surgery on my neck. I had 2 discs replaced, and that was supposed to fix everything. But while they were in there, they accidentally paralyzed my right vocal cord. I was left basically unable to speak. I guess it ended up being about 7 months. But they had told me that it was probably not, my voice was probably not going to come back, or if it would, it was going to take years. So I was sort of faced with, I can't sing anymore. I could barely speak. So, but fortunately, after about 7 months, it started to come back. And once it started to heal, it got better pretty rapidly, which happened to coincide with factors and other in Mike's and our other members' lives that sort of made it seem like this would be the thing to do again.
You make it sound as if it's something totally normal, to get back together again. But Michael, how did you feel when you heard about that diagnosis?
It was grim. So to go back before that a little, we had tried to start writing and getting the band going again. Well, Kevin and I had been jamming and writing other material, and Matt and I were doing another project called Cowards that we started during the pandemic, and that kept us pretty busy while everything was shut down. But yeah, it was a series of just hurdles, one after the other. So when, like Matt said, when we had wanted to get Punts going again, but then when Matt had this accident, that set us back. Where was I going with this? I had a plan.
Cancer?
So no, that was way before. That was that was 2019. Yeah, no, I wasn't trying to go back that far, because we kind of did that when we talked about Dead Cross, Dead Cross release. Yeah.
For everybody who wants to know about, for everybody who wants to find out what Michael is talking about, just go to the archives and look up the Dead Cross interview that we did. Then you'll know more.
Go to the archives, guys. That's it. So I was busy touring. I had started getting really busy. I was playing lead guitar for Fiddler, which kept me out of town a lot. And I started touring with Mr. Bungle. just as emotional support, if you will, for Mike. And so we had a bunch of material sitting on hard drives. We weren't getting to it. And then finally, the Fiddler gig and the Mr. Bungle gig ended the same week. So I was left with a huge gap in my schedule, and Matt was better. It was like, oh, and this is the other thing. When I was out on the road everywhere, people kept asking me about cards, which I was a little shocked by. I was like, really? Why is everyone asking me? Oh, okay, all right, yeah. So anyways, it seemed like if the universe was telling us to do anything, it was telling us to get back together and see it through. That's what we did.
You said that everybody was asking about, a new Cunts record, a new record by you guys. Didn't that also make you feel proud in a way? Like, okay, something that we started like years ago and that has been laying dormant for so much time. That is still something that people talk about. Cool feeling, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime someone likes your art or cares about your art, it's a great feeling. I mean, we would still make art anyways, whether people listen to it or not, because that's just what we do. But obviously, it's a good feeling when people connect to it or like it or want to hear it.
Yeah, it's incredibly flattering and validating.
And then, Matt, you said that the doctors had told you that basically you wouldn't be able to sing anymore, or at least not in the near future. Did you do anything to quicken up that healing process, or did it just come overnight?
I mean, there wasn't really anything to do, but interestingly, Mike and I have a friend who had lost his hearing during the time that I was all banged up, and I had started taking him to a lot of his doctor's appointments and stuff because I wasn't working. And at the time, he had like an iPad that could transcribe conversations. Mm-hmm. But my voice was so faint, like I could talk like that, right? My voice was so faint it wouldn't pick it up. But yeah, it was, yeah, even more than now. But I figured out that if I talked really high, like that, I could get enough volume that his iPad would pick up what I was saying. And once I started doing that, it was really over the course of a couple of weeks. That's when my voice started cutting me back. So yeah, I mean, that was honestly just a happy accident that I figured out, but that's what did it.
Okay. So you basically got back being a Mickey Mouse imitator.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, so way to go.
Yeah. So yeah, if any of that happens to anybody else out there, there you go.
But quitting the joking, how did it feel once when you knew, okay, the voice is getting back, maybe I can try? How did it feel when you first really used your vocal cords again to start singing?
Well, I was thrilled. I mean, I was nervous. I remember it was funny, the first time we all got together to play, I'd been, weeks leading up to it, screaming in the car and singing along with stuff, but I didn't really know how it was going to go. And we got together, we played a song, and I had prefaced it by just saying, look, I don't know what's going to come out. This might be awful. So, brace yourselves. And I got done. And I remember actually Mike said, you never sounded better. It definitely changed the timbre of my voice. Yeah. But in kind of a good way that I like. I like the sound of my screaming voice better now.
Yeah.
So yeah, it all worked out great. I don't have the same range of pitch that I used to have.
Yeah.
But it's a small price to pay, I suppose.
It sometimes sounds as if it's a little less in the higher reed ranges, but also it sounds as if it's a little condensed, if I might say that.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah. I mean, I don't have as wide a vocal range anymore. But I think what is left of my voice sounds cooler than it did before my accident. But as far as like how it felt, it was just really, really heavy for me. I mean, I got teary, you know. And as we've gone along, just I'm still sort of, we just had a short tour and sort of figured out that I can do this day after day and my voice isn't going to give out. And yeah, so there's been a fair amount of over the course of it, been a fair amount of uncertainty that as we've gone along and I sort of figured out how my voice works now, I'm incredibly relieved to just to have the confidence that I can do it.
You've been speaking about live sets and playing live. Do you feel any kind of, for example, do you have to cut the sets? Are they a little shorter now, or is your voice basically able to do nearly everything it did before on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, I mean, we tend to play shorter sets anyway, but I mean, I can sing a full set.
Cool. And what I really like, and that is also something that I already spoke with Michael about, it's the way that, you guys seem to have a very sarcastic kind of humor, very dark, but at the same time, that is something that I like. And at the same time, you are very serious about the music, which is a cool thing. And when we talk about the music itself, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I have a feeling as if the new record is much more diverse than the older stuff you have. Is that just my notion, or was that purposefully?
I don't know that I would necessarily describe it as more diverse so much as concise. I mean, I suppose there's more straight rock on this record than the earlier one. I also think I think though that there's a more sort of focused and deliberate intent behind it.
I think the songs are just better. They're just better songs. Better choruses. I really focused on choruses. I really wanted to sound like old AC/DC.
Interesting. I've also read that you said, Michael, you wanted stuff you listened to. So how close are you to that now?
Yeah, not very close. I listen to, if I'm being honest, I listen to Sade and Toro y Moi, Yellow Days, and King Cruel. I don't even listen to heavy music ever. Unless it's old AC/DC.
I was listening to Jason Isbell on my way to work today.
Wait, Jason Isbell. Let me think. Where do I know the name from? Singer-songwriter, isn't it?
He's great. Yeah.
He's an alt country guy.
Yeah.
Ah, yeah.
He's really good.
He's like the best guy going right now. He's like if Ryan Adams wasn't a dick.
Well, I mean, like Ryan Adams, Brian Adams, both are dicks in a way, right? But where else could we say that than in an interview with cunts? But there is something that I really like about the record, and that is something very straightforward about it. But there are also moments when you seemingly deliberate go into territories that I have not noticed before in your music. For example, there is one track on the new record which sounds as if you took a lesson out of Killing Joke and put it into the cunts realms. Now, Michael has already said he doesn't listen to that kind of stuff, or he doesn't listen to heavy music, but this post-punkish thing, that is a little
I love Killing Joke, right? Though. Do love Killing Joke, for sure.
Yeah.
So is that an influence where you say, like, okay, this is now much bigger than before? Like, we like it and we like to put it a little bit more into our music?
I mean, I assume you're talking about Don't Call Her?
I think, yes. I forgot the track title. I'm old, like. But Michael, is that something where you say, like, okay, that is deliberate? A little bit more of a deliberate influence?
I don't know if like Killing Joke per se was like a deliberate, like if that was deliberate, but like I said, we just focused on catchy riffs and catchy choruses, just better songs. That really, that's it. You know what I mean? Just hold on one second. Go ahead, Matt. Take over for this.
I know for my part, too, I tried to write lyrics that were easy to understand.
Yes, that definitely worked. Definitely.
Cool. Thank you. It's not a super comfortable thing for me. I tend to want to write things that are very wordy, very pedantic, and sort of abstract.
Mm-hmm.
And again, just sort of in the spirit of what we were doing of like writing rock songs with big choruses, I just like, you know, I just say what I mean. Seemed to work out okay.
It definitely did. When I listened to the tracks, there is one line throughout all the cool stuff that is on the record. There is one line which really kept me going, because I remember that you started writing these songs and these lyrics basically after your voice started healing, if I understood it correctly. And there is one line where you say, keep me in your thoughts and prayers. And you say that over and over and over again. Is that the fear of a relapse, or is that just, okay, keep fingers crossed that this is working out?
I mean, I guess it's kind of meant to be sarcastic. You know, I mean, like, it's sort of one of those empty gestures you hear on like online posts about, or like, you know, whenever some horrible tragedy happens and everyone's on the news saying, oh, our thoughts and prayers are with the victims. And it's just such a meaningless, trite, stupid thing. And so the lyrics to that song are really just about me being pissed off. And yeah, I guess the keep me in your thoughts and prayers thing is meant to be sarcastic.
But you were aware that, you know, in your personal biographical context, this has a double meaning, right?
Sure. I mean, you know, it can mean whatever to whomever. I mean, that's what I meant when I wrote it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, honestly, like I say, that's just like a corny, trite thing to say. I would never say, keep me in your thoughts and prayers in earnest.
Would you? Which part of that tribe do you disagree with? Do you disagree with the thoughts or with the prayers? Probably the prayers, right?
It's really the whole sentiment, and I guess it's not necessarily the words or that turn of phrase particularly so much as the context and the intent in which it's so often used.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know if I don't, like I say, it's like this is a totally empty, meaningless thing that people say when they're supposed to say something about a tragedy. You know, like every time there's a school shooting, all the pro-gun people go on TV and say, well, our thoughts and prayers are with the families, you know, and all that shit.
But let's sell a few records.
I just think
let's sell a
few
weapons more. Yeah, I know what you mean. But then
it's just like a dumb thing to say.
Then, you know, I mean, like you personally have encountered that diatribe while you were dealing with your disease and with a sickness, better said. How did you feel about those diatribes at that very moment? Did they comfort, or were they like, oh shit, another one saying the stupid stuff?
I mean, anytime somebody wants to say something nice to me, I'll take it as such. You know, I mean, I'm certainly not going to be offended if someone isn't expressing their sympathy to me in a way that I prefer.
So that is, yeah, you go on.
Yeah, I don't know if everybody's thoughts and prayers worked or not, but my voice got better, so I'll take it.
Maybe.
Hey, do you have this over there?
Yeah, of course we do. Fuck L. Ron Hubbard.
Really?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, you're with the Scientologers?
Yes, I always follow Elron wherever he walks, and I kiss the ground that he treads on. Not.
We're afraid to say anything bad. We like to make fun of stuff, but that's one area we're staying away from. Because people are scared.
Yeah, when we have
religion?
enough money to hire lawyers, we can start bagging on them.
Fuck that.
I still wonder if they ever sued Tool for that, fuck L. Ron Hubbard and fuck all his clones line. And what is it, Anima? Would be interesting to know.
I don't know. Yeah.
We have now been talking about the meaning behind all of these songs, or behind a lot of them. But Michael, can you take us through that songwriting process? Because how does it work? Are you the sole songwriter for Cunts, or is it more of a democratic process?
Well, so Matt writes all his lyrics and stuff like that, or we'll as a producer, we'll get together and be like, fuck, what can we say? Or can we change that line? Or Matt, do you really feel that? Like, that's just, I think, typical producer stuff that any producer would do. But as far as like the music and everything, yeah, I'll jam something with Kevin, get
our drummer,
an idea. Kevin, our drummer, get a part going, an idea. Or a lot of times too, I'll have him just play to a grid in Pro Tools, and I'll have a lot of parts, and I'll just riff. I'll just riff like crazy over stuff, and then it tends to, then you get more of a pattern, not a pattern, but just an idea, strings and parts together. And then if the drum takes are good enough, I'll just keep riffing and arranging and rearranging, and obviously with Pro Tools and technology's made it really easy to be creative and just to be more thorough, effective in the studio. It doesn't take as long. But then we'll get something going, and then I'll send it to Matt or all the other guys, and Matt will get some vocal ideas. And we'll come in, and then we'll do a scratch track, see if it's vibing or not. I mean, really, it's just, kind of we're not doing anything super different, super unique, or different than most bands who've been. I've been writing stuff for this album. I've been playing guitar for a long time, You just find what works better. Every relationship, that's all a band is a relationship, and every relationship's different, and it tends to work really good when people come and know how they can help or where they fit in. Then it goes really smooth, and it can be a lot of fun. But yeah, typically, I'm a guitar player, so I'll write parts. I can hear it where it should go.
You have already mentioned, all the others. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there are some new dicks and cunts, right?
New members?
Yes.
That was a good one. I just caught it.
I've been waiting all the time to do this one.
Nice.
It landed very well. Yeah, good for you.
Yeah. There's two.
Yeah.
We have. Go ahead, Matt. You take over. Go ahead. I'm gonna walk up these stairs.
All right. Well, while Mike's walking up the stairs, we have a new bass player. His name is Rico, and we have a new guitar player named Coco. When we got back together, our original second guitar player, Sterling, was getting married and buying a home, and just wasn't up for it anymore. And that's a similar thing with our first bass player. Just didn't want to do it anymore. So we got these new guys, and they're great.
Yeah, it also sounds very, very tight, I have to say. Like listening to the record, it sounds like a very, very tight and productive unit. definitely something that is obvious on the new record.
We work hard at it. Thank you.
Yeah, you definitely succeeded on that one. When we talk about the obvious, sorry for saying it, guys, but the cover, don't know what drove you to do that one. So, did you just want to
What's
spend
wrong
gas?
with it?
No, what's wrong with it?
Well, I was expecting more people dressing up like Matt did on the cover. You know, I was more like waiting for a bunch of old guys. You know, somebody on crutches, somebody in a wheelchair. You know, something like that. But no, honestly, that is Matt on the cover, right? That's you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, why we chose it? We thought it was funny.
It is.
You know,
it is. Come on, let's be honest.
We were out shooting content for our socials. So I had that whole get up on, and we had the wheelchair, and we happened to drive by a fucking car on fire, and so we real quick pulled over and just got some video of it. That's just a still from a video that we shot. But you know, as far as why we chose it for the cover, it's like explosions. Who doesn't like that?
Yeah, who doesn't like it like that? I know. It's just funny because, you know, just like I said, it shows a very humorous side to the band. It screams like don't take us too seriously, which is cool.
Well, I mean, we're wearing fucking pantyhose on our heads, you know, like and we take what we do very seriously, and we put a whole lot of work into being good, and bringing our A game to everything that we do. But you know, we're grown men. Like, we all have senses of humor, and like, yeah, I mean, you know, we could have a record cover with a bunch of fucking skulls on it or something, you know, so that, you know, that no one would ever know that we laugh at stuff. I don't know.
But do you have a feeling as if people understand that? You know, this dichotomy of being serious about your music and not taking yourself too seriously?
I don't know. I don't spend a whole lot of time worrying about that too much. You know, I mean, people get all kinds of shit wrong all the time about us, about everything. You know, you can't really be too concerned with making sure everybody gets it. You know, it's at the same time, it's a rock record. It's not like, you know, it's not like a fucking riddle.
Are we then basically back to the old thing, which I think is very, very important for any band? Do it for yourself. Don't do it for others. First of all. Yeah.
Mike? Right. We'll always do it for ourselves. Like I said, if no one was going to buy the record, we would still make another one. You know, we have fun together. We work together well. We're really happy with what we created, but I still do we try to put a lot into songwriting. Making the songs is making good songs. That's it. You know, I like good songs. Matt likes good songs. We want to make good songs, and I guess to a certain degree, you do think about the listener a little bit. Yeah, you do. You know.
Yeah. I mean, I think for this record, we thought about the listener insofar as we thought about, well, what would we want if we were the listener? But you know, I mean, it's rock and roll. We're not curing cancer. So as far as taking ourselves seriously, wow, you're right. Maybe we should be more pompous.
Maybe we should be cancer fit. We should be oncologists.
Yeah, let's get some turtlenecks.
But I don't think that the turtlenecks will go very well with the pantyhose.
It'd be an adjustment.
You make it work, right? You know, that's definitely true.
Yeah.
But that is something that I want everybody to remember when you listen to the music. Yes, it's funny. It's cool. It's catchy. It's really cool. I think cool is a very good word to describe the new record. But please don't underestimate the amount of time that went into it. And even if the guys did it within a couple of months last year, that doesn't mean that it's a quick shot. You know, that is something that also strikes me. I was wondering how much time you really spent on that record, because it sounds pretty easy,
a lot.
but
A lot.
exactly,
A
you
lot.
know, like to make it sound that easy, it must have been a lot of time, right?
Yeah, I almost put myself into bankruptcy making that record.
So
It
that's why
takes
you go ahead,
that shit is time consuming. Making a record is time consuming. I don't. Despite what anyone says or anyone, well, I'm pretty sure people are pretty honest about the fact that I at least I hope they are other artists like, oh yeah, we spent a lot of time, we worked really fucking hard, because it is such hard work. I don't care what anyone says or how good they say they are. Give me a fucking break. That shit takes a long time, man. A long time.
Just the hours that Mike put into the editing, and I mean, like, that's incredibly time consuming, very detailed work. And that's the thing with so much production and things like that, like, you know, when you're spending hours after hours editing a track so that everything sounds just perfect, like if you do a perfect job, like no one will notice.
Yeah.
You know, like if something's fucked up, then everybody hears it. But
yeah, and everybody comes preaching out of the hole, right?
Yeah, but no, there's I mean, we all put a lot of work into that, but Mike definitely put in the most hours and the most. I mean, the meticulousness that he brought to that was really pretty harrowing.
And it shows, which is a cool thing, isn't it? Yeah.
Thanks.
I hope so.
It was mixed really well too. That's another thing is that not all listeners understand is, so sonically everything had to be correct and all the parts right and everything sung right and everything layered correctly. All the different guitar tracks, you're hearing 4 tracks typically blended. You know, you can't tell. All the edits done correctly, all the crossfades, like Matt said, all the transients cut just right. There's so many things that go into doing that digitally in Pro Tools or whatever, and then getting it ready for mixes, which is a whole other thing. Delivery to the mixing engineer, meeting up with the mixing engineer and being like, okay, you know what you did there, no, it's supposed to sound like this, or that's not supposed to be there. Oh fuck, now I gotta go back and fix that. I didn't even know that was audible. Like there's so many, it's so ridiculous. Like if anyone wants to make records to make money, they're in the wrong business. Like if you were to, you know what I mean? Like we probably, I don't know how much we spent or how much we lost making the record in, you know, monetary terms, but we were going to do it no matter what because we loved it and we love making music. I guess that's the point. It's like at the end of the day, we're still gonna do this. We're still gonna do another one, and we do it because we love it. That's it.
I mean, that's really the only reasonable motivation to do any of this kind of stuff, you know. Like if you're getting into underground rock because you want to get rich, like there's easier ways to get rich. If you want, there's way easier ways to get famous, you know, like assassinate a celebrity. You'll be all over the fucking papers in no time.
But it might not bring you money.
You know what I mean? I don't know. I mean, Son of Sam made a couple of bucks, didn't he?
I think he did, but I'm not sure. And the other question is, if he made money with it, was he still able to enjoy it? But anyway, you know, we're cutting the crap here.
Who's Son of Sam? David Berkowitz? Is David Berkowitz?
Yeah.
They actually made a law, like after David Berkowitz sold. Yeah, he like sold the rights to his story and made a shitload of money. Then they passed a law that you can't do that.
You can't make money off your crime.
If you're convicted of a violent felony, you can't profit off of the life rights. It's actually called the Son of Sam law.
Wow, I didn't know that one. But you know, to cut that to the point, but it's very important to me also for everybody. You know, I know the music sounds maybe at first glance very clear, but don't mistake that. You know, if you dig deeper and deeper into the record, you will find a lot of stuff. And that's also one of the reasons why I can only tell everybody, you know, when you listen to the record in a couple of days and you have a buck or two or five, the guys will be happy for any kind of support. And deservedly so. Deservedly so. But Michael already knows it, and now Matt, you also have to go through it. Nobody leaves a Veil of Sound interview without having to deal with the infamous quickfire round. You will always get two different, or you will always get coupled, two different alternatives, have to choose one of them, and maybe give a short explanation on why you chose what. For example, you know, who's more important, Bob Dylan or Elvis Presley? You know, like, and then you would have to choose one.
Oh, wow, that's okay. God, that'd be a tough one.
Yeah, I think.
I guess if I had to, I mean, I love them both, but I guess, I mean, importance sort of subjective, but I mean, I think Dylan is, I would have to say Dylan.
Yeah, but then again, the question is who brought more people into rock music? It's definitely Elvis.
Certainly.
So you see, that's the point about it.
It's
a very subjective point.
That's yeah. All right. Well, I look forward to arguing with you.
Well, I'm gonna let you talk. You know, maybe you two are arguing, but I
love being allowed to talk even more.
Let's start off with something easy. AC/DC, which one is better, a version with Bon Scott or Brian Johnson?
That's not even
a question, dude. Come on.
Bon Scott. I will say, however, I love Back in Black. But I mean, Bon Scott.
Bon Scott. AC/DC, I mean, without Bon Scott, it's a different band.
It's like the difference between shooting a bullet and throwing it. I saw AC/DC live last year, and I gotta say, I mean, obviously it wasn't Bon Scott, but it was fucking great.
Musically, the guys are untouchable, right? You know, basically also because they've been doing the same song for 60 years.
Yeah, totally, and knocking it out of the park.
As you said that you like to listen to also other kinds of music, I have two Americana or alternative country things for you. Wilco versus Lamb Chop.
Wilco. Yeah, I mean, again, I think, I mean, Lamb Chop is fine. I think, I mean, like where Wilco started out as an alt country band and then brought in all of this. I mean, when they brought in Nels Cline to do all that experimental, like, squeak and fart noises and shit, it's like, as far as, I mean, they've taken the alt country thing further than anybody else in the genre, and they keep making good records and they keep being relevant.
Michael, your choice?
I've never listened to either.
But you can answer the following question, I'm very sure. And I know that question is more relevant in the US than in Europe. Ministry versus Killing Joke.
Oh, Killing Joke.
Yeah, for you that was clear, I know. But,
easy.
I gotta say Ministry.
First discussion of the band.
I don't listen to either of them all that much. I saw them, actually, well, no, I've seen them both. I saw Ministry in '92, and I remember at the time even thinking like, oh, this is kind of corny and all the leather pants and shit, but they were fucking great. And I saw Killing Joke a few years ago, and they really weren't.
Yeah. I have to say, I only saw, out of those two, I only saw Killing Joke. Oh, wait, did I see Ministry at a festival? Could be. But that was also like 20-some years ago, so yeah. I don't know who I would choose. I think when it comes to live, definitely Killing Joke record. Anyway, you've been talking about, you know, like stuff that you listen to on the radio. So let's go back like 30, 40 years, and I'll give you Kansas versus Boston. Which AOR band is more to your liking?
Ooh, I really don't like either of them. I guess
Yeah.
Kansas.
Yeah.
Yeah, Carry On
Probably.
My Wayward Son. Is that Kansas?
Yes,
is Kansas,
Kansas.
yes.
Yeah, that's a great song.
Yeah,
we
Dust in the
have an
Wind
answer.
is. I mean,
Yeah, I would say Kansas.
it's a yeah, Kansas.
Yeah, what did you want to say about Dust in the Wind? That it's corny?
I mean, it's about as corny as can be, but I don't turn it off when it comes on.
I still don't know whether that song is not ultimately sarcastic, because come on, like a band from Kansas calling a song "Dust in the Wind."
There didn't seem to be much sarcastic about that band. I think that
No, I think they took it very
they either
seriously.
really meant it, or they just knew how to play it safe to make a buck. I don't know. Either way.
Mhm.
Two bands from the same era, but much more important, I guess, are Journey and Van Halen. I'm pretty sure I know the answer, but still, which one would you choose, Journey or Van Halen?
Van Halen.
I mean Van Halen, but I love Journey.
I loved Van Halen when I was a kid. Fucking loved him. I had every album.
Yeah, I mean as guitar players.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that Neil Schon from Journey isn't a motherfucker too.
Yeah, he's a fucking ripper.
But you know, you have Eddie on the other hand, so
Eddie,
I have to say, when the wife is not listening, I can say Van Halen. When she, Filipino descent, when she's listening, I of course have to say Journey.
Sure. Well, you got to keep the peace at home.
Yeah, happy wife, happy life. Same era, but totally different music. State of Alert versus MDC, Millions of Dead Cops.
MDC.
I'm not. Yeah, I only know like one MDC song, and that's because Dead Cross covered it. I don't even know who the other band is.
Oh, State of Alert.
SOA. That was
first band.
Oh, yeah. Probably MDC. I'm not huge on either, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I had that MDC tape when I was a kid, and I find it amusing. SOA, not very good.
I think the thing with SOA is only very, very important in a way that they're like Roland's first band and it's the band before Black Flag, right?
Right. But I guarantee you, had he never joined Black Flag, no one would ever be talking about the State of Alert.
That's true. Yeah.
They weren't. I mean, it wasn't good.
Yep.
1000%. Yeah.
This is a fun game.
Switch or smuggling some pop culture into it. Simpsons, first 10 seasons or last 10 seasons?
I would say I guess if those are the two choices, I would say first 10, but really I would go 5 through 15.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah,
can you explain that?
When they hit their sweet spot.
Yeah, I mean, maybe 4 through 14. But no, I think those, the first few years wasn't really very funny. They were sort of figuring it out. But I think it was when Conan O'Brien started writing for them? That's when I think like the really iconic humor that people have come to love from The Simpsons. That's really where they sort of found their stride. And then
I have to say that there are some episodes in season 2 that are really good. But yeah.
They're not as good as their later stuff. But I also kind of feel like after Dana Gould left, it kind of fell off for me. Started to get pretty redundant and didn't seem as, I don't know, relevant.
Do you then also dig like the Futurama stuff, or do you then like me say, never catches me?
I've never really gotten into Futurama. I like Family Guy.
Yeah, but Futurama. I got 2 more for you, and that one is definitely also because like a certain connection to San Diego, and because I asked Justin the same thing yesterday. Drive Like Jehu versus Rocket from the Crypt.
Drive Like Jehu, 1000%.
I mean, I've probably listened to Rocket more than I have Jehu.
But
let's go Jehu.
That's also one of those bands, that people here in Europe very often don't get. I don't know why, but
yeah.
Rocket is definitely catchier. That is clear. But with Drive Like Jehu, I think you get more depth.
I think that there's a lot more to it.
Way better guitar playing too.
Yeah, and
because it's not only Speedo.
I mean, it's a pretty flawless band.
Yeah,
and and Rocket I think is really cool. And they made a few records that I really liked and stuff. But they're kind of a spectacle.
Yeah,
definitely. And that's not to say that it's not serious or anything, but it's really a pretty different thing.
Mm-hmm. Last thing, as Michael mentioned, or one of you mentioned, Sade. So I'll give you Sade versus Erykah Badu.
Again, like that's not even a Sade.
That was a quick one. Michael, the same for you?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You don't even have to ask me that.
Not even in the same league, dude.
There would be no Erykah Badu without Sade.
That's true. That's true. If that was so quick, then I'll give you then I'll give you another couple where I think it's Beyonce versus Alicia Keys.
I don't care about either of them. I guess Beyonce seems kind of cool. I guess.
Michael?
I'm not well versed with either of them, but the Alicia Keys stuff I've heard is really cool. I've heard cool stuff from both of them. I wouldn't know enough about either to make a decision on that.
That's a nice way of saying it.
Yeah, I mean, I like Jay-Z.
Well, that's not an answer to that question because
I guess
one of his best tracks is with Alicia, but he's married to Beyonce, so.
Oh wow, yeah, I guess I just muddied the waters there. Well, okay, Beyonce.
So anyway, guys, I see that Michael is going from room to room there, and I don't want to keep you busy for too long. Thanks for doing this. For everybody, the new record is out in a few days. Please listen to it. And if you listen to it, if you like it, spend a few bucks on cunts.
Please
I loved that ending.
Yeah, please.
Please do.
And thanks very much, man.
So enjoy the rest of your day, guys. Bye-bye.